And man, what a month we had in February. Only the second day of February, the second day of March, and already we're finding out that Mr. Tata has been canceled. The Muppets have been canceled, as well as Dr. Seuss. Folks, I don't know where the left is going with this canceling of different things, but it does not look good. I mean, they started with canceling conservatives, kicking them off of different platforms, off Twitter, off of Facebook. And now they're going into the culture, to the heart of things, and finding issues, and they started canceling that. What I find interesting is that they like to cancel things that have nothing to do with what's actually happening in our society. Case in point, border control. They don't want to cancel that. They don't want borders. They don't want a fence. They want people just to walk across arbitrarily and say, hey, I'm a citizen. I want to participate in what you guys are doing. Give me freebies. But they want borders around the Capitol, the people's government. They don't want you there. They want you to believe that there's an imminent threat. Let's think about this. If you were elected legally and fairly, what do you have to fear? Where is the threat? Or is it all in their heads and they want you to think there's a threat? I don't know. Go figure. But hey, it's happening. March 2nd, 2021. And this is what the Democrats are doing. Not only that, look at the governor of New York. Oh man, first it starts with Nipplegate, and now he's out doing God knows what. We're going to talk about that and then some tonight. Welcome to the show. My host at Small Town Andrew,
how's it going?
And our resident poet, Ray. And tonight's guest is a young woman who is running for governor of California if they're successful in their recall, and hopefully they will be, because we know that Governor Newsom is not doing a good job. So definitely welcome our guest tonight, Rhonda Furin. Rhonda, how is it going?
It's going good. You know, today was actually the last day of recall Gavin Newsom. I was with a paid petitioner the last 2.5 weeks, and they're done with the funds. And so I believe we must have the 2 million signatures. It hasn't been verified on mainstream media yet, but when I was told today is the last day, that is a good sign.
So when will we know definitely if, you guys met the numbers and that he's going to be on his way out?
Well, we should be hearing, I would say, by the March 10th was the last deadline date to put signatures.
Right.
And, I just want to tell you that I actually filed my paperwork to be on this recall August 1st of last year, 2020.
Wow.
And that was because I actually initially ran for Congress to support, President Trump's policies on the border wall, on a lot of his policies, America First here in California. And I started to get shadow banned, and they blocked my race for Congress when I discovered voter fraud or voter irregularities, with my race, and signed affidavits. And recall came out. I immediately got on the bandwagon and was out there volunteering, actually March through August. And by August, I was actually told that we had 1 million signatures verified then. This was last year. And so I hired my consultants and filed thinking that the election was going to be in 2020. Yeah, it just gets so bizarre.
Right.
Yeah, then the numbers fell back down to 250,000. That's the only signatures we had. And, we've been plugging through, and now we've gotten some funding this last year, in which I believe we are up to 2 million. Just last week, the Secretary of State called me up and was telling me that the check that they cashed last August for $3,900 in some sense was going to be returned to me after they cashed it, because I was not going to be put on the ballot because I needed to register for a 2022 candidate.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, this is really bizarre. So help
Yeah.
us to understand, how does this work? So if you guys get the numbers that you need, is it an automatic recall?
Yeah, it will go to recall a special election. It will go to a recall, and they have
Automatically.
yeah, and it will
Okay.
go to we're getting mixed information because it was recently changed after Greg Davis was recalled. The way
Right.
they do this, and California likes to put in small print information that people don't really see
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm hearing different things. I don't want to actually say everything I've said because it's not all verified.
Oh, understood.
Yeah, but he could be out sooner than we expect.
Okay.
Yes, and I have refused to take my check back. Have
Right.
now filed an amendment to have my money put towards a 2021 run.
Okay.
I'm not going for 2022 because
Yep.
we do not want him running for president. Shall he put in a
We don't
full?
want him for governor. I don't think you
Yeah,
guys want him for governor or for president. Now,
right.
let me ask you this. So with the recall, is he able to run, or with the recall, he's out and it has to be between you and any other candidate that decides to run?
Correct. Correct.
So with that recall, he's out.
He's
He
out.
can't come back.
He can't come back.
Okay, California, you guys have got to get on top of this. We don't, I mean, come on. This guy, from what I've seen, is a disaster. I mean, he's a Nancy Pelosi nephew. I'm looking at the homeless. I'm looking at the restaurants that are shut down. We had on the show not too long ago, Chef Grill, who's from California. He owns the restaurant Snapfish. He was talking about the governor and his mixed, he's doing for some, not for others. He's going out to restaurants, he's eating at his popular hot spots, but everyone else has to stay inside. That's not good. I mean, I can't believe that he has lasted this long.
I know.
It's unbelievable. So what are your hopes? What if you are elected, what are you going to do for California? Are you going to open it up? Are you going to let people get back to work and go to restaurants?
Well, sadly, I will tell you where he's getting the money to do all this. I was an educator here, recruited by the state of California. And basically, he's been using tax dollars, that's supposed to be used for the schools through the teacher unions. His biggest supporter is the teachers union.
Oh, same thing in New York. Yep. Okay.
Yes. And I came out as a union leader about 10 years ago, signing waivers to defund them over my pro-life stance. That did not go over well. And and then there was other things I found out. I found out that the school district was using illegal surveillance in schools, in California schools and Atlanta schools, to target minority students, in which I called them out. And even contacted the CEO of the company, which is in the state of Washington, and he resigned. And eventually, the people on the school board started resigning. And just recently, this is factual, you can look it up. I filed a criminal investigation into a school district in LA County, in which it started a multitude of investigations, which includes taxpayer dollars used for illegal funding of things that aren't geared towards schools or students. And they can't really talk about it, and I can't really talk about it either, but it has been initiated about 2 weeks ago.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
I mean, so have you ever been in public office before, other than being a school teacher?
No, I have not. I ran for Congress because I was tired of seeing the way Congress was responding to President Trump's policies that he was trying to implement. And I knew at that point, because I knew where I was, with the working for the state here for over 20 years, that I would not get anywhere if I initially ran locally, county, or statewide. So
Right.
I went and said, I'm going to jump in this, and I ran for Congress, and I was in the primary March. And then when that turned, into a total fiasco where I was shadow banned, my website was blocked. I kept taking screenshots because nobody could even see my website,
Right.
any platform I stood for. And then, I'm not one to give up. So when recall came out, I said, you know what, I'm going to run for governor now. And people are going like, who is this girl that's just coming out of nowhere? And yes, I've been in education all my life. I'm a behavioral analyst. I've been in sales and marketing, beauty pageants at one time, and wrote political speeches, but never held a political office.
So why do you think people have just sat there and allowed Newsom to behave like a dictator, shutting down businesses, shutting down restaurants, and allowing the homeless to grow to the level? California is a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous state. Now you have people leaving California. Liberals are leaving California, going to red states that are good states. They have good governors, and they're, running things the way they should be. So now they're going to bring their liberal ideas and policies to those red states and wreak havoc there. So why don't people just push back like you're doing? Hopefully you will get the support. I mean, I'm serious. Why aren't people pushing? Why aren't they getting involved? Why aren't they protesting something that liberals like to do and tell this guy, take a hike? This is unreal. He has destroyed California. I don't know if look at New York. I don't know if these great cities will be able to come back. Well, one way they'll be able to come back is if the Congress passes that huge so-called Save America bill that the Democrats are working on, because they're going to bail out a lot of these Democrat states where the governors have just wreaked complete havoc. So why aren't people pushing back? What is the bill in California?
Well, people are fed up, and a lot of people. There's the support that we get for recall is astronomical. I would say it's like 80-20. I mean, there's 80% of the population, 80% of the people that come by. So when they sit there and say it's the other way around, it is not. And I think people are fed up with the unions and the mismanagement of funds here. I don't think people really realize that the trillions of dollars we are in debt with public pension liabilities. And, I always tell people that you need to watch that HBO documentary, Bad Education, which was out of New York, ironically. Yep. So you want to talk about, New York, California, that's exactly what's going on here. And I was actually, coming out and saying companies that were involved and how the mismanagement of funds was actually being stolen by certain districts.
Right.
And there was a ring of them doing it. And you know what? In their contracts, administrators and district office personnel have it written in their contracts that should they get, put in prison for a felony of this thefts of this kind of gratitude, they still will get out of prison in 4 to 6 years and still be awarded a $400,000 salary for life with full benefits. And this is exactly what's going on with these people. And I sit there and I feel for these people that have small businesses that come here to California, that immigrate here and have all their great, ideas and innovations and restaurants. And they work in these places 24/7. And even when they retire, there's no guarantee of any type of salary or health care where they are living that type of lifestyle on a $400,000 salary and full benefits. What they face now is the increased bonds that are passing that, only increase property taxes and the gas taxes and everything that's here. So basically they're forced out of here. So you see all these small business people leaving. And the only people that are here are the people that are on those salaries that now we can't even fund because the taxes aren't here. And then you wonder why we still get trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt.
Right.
There's no balance.
Right. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you have people like him who's there. Why do people keep voting for these Democrats? They see that they're just like killing the economy. Why do they keep voting for Democrats?
Are they really voting for them, or is there election fraud? Is there election things going? So,
Ah,
are they really voting for these people? That is the question. Okay.
hey. Shh. You don't want to mention that because when you start saying that, they'll say, oh, they're crazy. We've got to shut them down. They're talking election fraud, when in actuality, it exists. There was an article in New York Times. They showed us what they were actually up to. They showed us what they did. So all you folks that are running around with your hair on fire because we're saying voter fraud, get over yourself. We had to live with you and this entire Russia collusion. So yes, there is voter fraud. And yes, there is enough voter fraud to overturn an election. Any amount of fraud in a Democrat election is wrong, and it should be investigated, and it should not happen. When you find out that dead people are voting, illegal aliens are voting, they have the right to vote. I think I remember hearing once a couple of years ago that Newsom was going to allow illegals to vote in local elections, school elections. Now, of course, you know what that leads to, voting in the general election. I mean, it's like, do they think that we're that dumb? And then you have those Hollywood dodo birds up there. Oh yeah, let's do it. It's like, you're living behind your steel fences, protected, while the rest of us are out there fair game to all these criminal activities. I don't think so. So it's time for a change. And I would say to all the Californians that are watching this, you need to get out there, wake up, smell the political coffee, because if you don't, what you think is yours won't be yours. When they get done with all the socialism and taking money from this and from that, you will have to pay the price.
Absolutely. Well said, Rob. Ray, if you have a question, you can follow up.
I do.
Go ahead, Ray.
I've been listening, and it's really obvious what an uphill struggle Rhonda has been, having to deal with. And one of my questions is there a middle class left in California? It seems that you're either wealthy and you're just going to put up with it, or you're on the street homeless. That's how it looks like to the rest of the country. And we wonder what is wrong with this picture. I mean, are people, there has to be a lot of apathy. There has to be, or to keep just voting the same way. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Yep.
And I, when I had, in 2019, I had a radio show, and I had a couple of people on that were running for office, and they too were telling stories how they would get stonewalled. And they would ask, even the Republican Party was not helping the Republican candidates, right?
Right.
So you really, God bless you for, stepping up, especially since you come from a background of education, because I worry, and I worry as a poet and the things I write about. I worry about the children. I have 6 grandchildren that are up near in Placerville, California. My son, his wife, they're basically homeschooling their kids, and they're fortunately self-sufficient in that they have a live farm. I mean, 10 to 15 acres with animals. They grow food. They have milk. They have goats. They can grow things. But, there are a lot of people that were just put out, like the guy that Rob was talking about, this restaurateur. And look at Texas. Texas is just announcing they're going to basically offer the masks, and they're opening up the economy.
Bravo to Texas. Bravo. Someone has got to do it, because if they don't do it, they'll keep us in these bloody masks for the next decade, saying, oh, it's for your health. I mean, look at Dr. No mask. By the summer, it'll be 6 masks. I mean, what are your thoughts on Rhonda? I mean, the whole mask deal, and you got the governor going to different restaurants, private restaurants, and he's not, social distancing. What the heck is happening?
No, I think, I think people are lost here. I think they're waiting for a solution overnight, and it's not going to happen. Um, they just want to force people out, and it's just so sad because people just give up.
Right.
And I'm not one to give up. So I've been, fighting the fight. But as far as the question earlier about the middle class,
Yes.
there is no middle class here left anymore. I ran for Congress in District 45 up in northern Orange County, and there's a lot of people that have larger plots with single level homes, that were up here in the Orange Acres up here.
Mhm.
And that land is so valuable to these developers and the people that want to take it over. And these people have their houses paid off now, which is you don't see too much of here anymore. People take out second or third or fourth mortgages on their houses. So these people have, the larger lots and single level houses, and they're passing these property tax increases and these school bonds that actually force people out of their homes because now they're on a fixed income. And then the healthcare prices, which
Right.
President Trump was, addressing with the pharma and everything. I mean, these people are basically forced out of their paid off houses, because of healthcare charges or whatnot, taxes. And then, who just takes over their properties? The state,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they're using this to bail out their pension liabilities. And it's people need to wake up, and you need to start protecting our middle class at some point here in this state.
And what is one of the first things you would do if elected for the folks of California?
Well, I would just abolish income tax right now. I mean, the tax
Mhm.
level here has to be gone. And I'm one that even says we need to get rid of the luxury tax here too.
Mhm.
And the tax on water vessels, I've stressed that over and over again, and the regulations for small businesses that are trying to come here and start off is just astronomical. I've talked to some of the people that come here with ideas. By the time they're done going through all the red tape and the loops with their small business idea, their idea has been stolen. Their intellectual property is gone now, and somebody else has it. And
Right.
I've heard it over and over again. And these people are being forced out of here to move back or leave to another state. And there's, I'm not going to sit here and list people's names and their businesses, but they've come to me, when I was running for Congress and said this story, that story, that story. And I was just like, I believe it. I mean, I'm hearing too many of the same stories over and over again.
And
You
what
know,
about Silicon Valley? How are they? I mean, are they helping? I'm hearing that they're helping to prop Newsom up. They're not affected. I mean, they're making all this money. So how do they fit into this equation?
yeah, they are basically supporting the Democrats, the teachers union. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah. Yeah. So they're not helping because, like I said before, they shadow ban me. I can't even, go on social media anymore without being blocked or, not adding people and whatnot. I was kicked off a few of them. I'm not going to say which ones, a few times.
No, name the names. We've been kicked off also. It's an honor. I think it's a badge of honor when you're kicked off. Twitter has kicked us off more times
I've
than
been
not.
kicked off Twitter a few times. I can't add any more followers.
Yeah.
Facebook doesn't allow any ads from me, but they'll allow ads from other candidates and
Yep.
other people. When I try to share things, I've taken screenshots. It says only you can see this. Well, when I'm running for Congress, why is it that
Exactly.
why can I only see that I'm running in District 45?
Right.
That's just not a fair shot. And then, I was, giving examples of, how the state makes money off the homelessness because they tend to put the veterans, in free tents. They put the disabled people. I told the story about what they did with all the AD money in this state when they got all that money. All they did was refurbish the parking lots and the curbs. But when it came to the restaurants or inside the state buildings, mind you, I called Gavin Newsom out on this. None of the doors are big enough for a wheelchair accessibility. So basically, they stole all this money. And then when these people that are disabled now can't get to anywhere, can't even get into a bank, can't get into, shops or whatever, they're put on a street and given a free tent. Okay. And then their disability payments are then taken away from them. It's fact.
It's like Tent City.
Yeah.
But from just looking at the pictures, it's Tent City all over the place. Beautiful California, San Francisco, the Bay Area, beautiful Los Angeles, beautiful places. We pay taxes, yet and still they get to live on the lane rent-free, doing whatever they want to do, defecating on the street. I mean, it's shooting up on the streets, and we're told that it's okay. I'm sorry. I live in New York City, and I don't like it. If I'm going to pay taxes, if I've got to pay taxes, why live on the lane and do absolutely nothing? This has got to change. I don't want people to say, well, he's insensitive. No. I'm making sense here. The more you allow this to happen, the city starts going down, the infrastructure starts going down. We have to stop this. People have got to stand up. And if people want to say that conservatives, they don't care about people, they're racist and they're that, I don't care. It is time we stand up, make a stand, and say that this has to stop. What about the school systems? You being an educator, what do you think about this? Kids at home being educated. Why don't they give us back our tax dollars?
Right.
If I've got to teach, give me back my money.
Yeah, it should be done.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually started a foundation called the Rhonda Furin Foundation, where, and I even came out and said, tax exempt your house. Okay, you take back up to how much money you can take back. If your kids are not in a public funded school building, you take back your property taxes, and which is about $14,000, and use that to educate your child in home. And all of a sudden, the very next day after I went on social media and said that one, and I was even sending the links and said, go to the LA assessor's office, go to all your assessor's office. All of a sudden, LA County said, schools are opening up tomorrow. And I just went, yeah, is that all it took was for me to say, go back and get your tax dollars? Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. Rhonda, I was in Sacramento in the summer of 2019 and went to a couple Recall Gavin Newsom rallies back then. It seemed like it was just picking up steam. We've already talked about the high gas prices, the high taxes, but I think this pandemic really put Californians things into perspective for them and just how bad the governor is. Did you notice that this Recall Gavin Newsom effort picked up a lot of steam throughout these lockdowns?
Yes, it did. You know what? I'll tell you what initially happened with Recall Gavin. Recall Gavin came out and they realized that they were getting the signatures, that we were pulling in people from all parties. It's just not Republicans that want him recalled. It's independents and Democrats as well. I mean, people realize that he is not what they voted for. A lot of Democrats came out. I know because I was running for Congress, and I was spending a lot of time in Anaheim. And Anaheim had a lot of Democrats, and they were just like, we don't like Gavin Newsom, and they're supporting that. Well, then all of a sudden, people were funding to actually counter offer the recall measures. So it's like, who's going to pay you more? Okay, people that want your signatures to not have you recall him, or volunteers who are trying to recall him. So like I said, when I initially filed last August of 2020, I was told we had 1 million signatures, and then all the signatures happened to disappear and we get down to 250,000. So, I think it picked up like you just said, because people are funding it and people are realizing that, hey, our voice matters, our signature matters. We're going to make sure that our signature is there and we're recalling him.
You got to, because that's the only way that the state will survive if you keep him there. What about this whole deal with the electric cars? How is that coming along with them wanting to, get rid of gas and go all electric?
Yeah.
Is that even an issue?
That was, but that came out, I think, before Gavin, wasn't it? Was that under Brown? I believe that was, where they
started under him, but I think Gavin is trying to push it also.
Pushing it too. California is not going to get rid of their SUVs. That's not going to happen. I mean, I am an SUV person,
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
So yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, no, we got a lot of families and a lot of people, and we're a very animal friendly state, and people like to have their animals in their SUVs. That will not happen. We will not. And then we have the rolling blackouts. Can you imagine? I mean, give us a break, you know.
And what about the forest fires? I mean, I'm hearing that forest preservation, which a lot of liberals don't like. You look at other countries. We seem to be the only country that have all these forest fires because no one wants to go in and get rid of the dead wood that's there. They want to leave it there. And it's like, are you serious? Why is it that California or the United States of America, there are other countries with forest also, but we're the only ones with forest fires? We didn't have this many fires back in 82 or the 70s. Why now? What is the problem with these liberals that they don't want to make a move to make things for the better?
Yeah, well, I've talked to a few fire chiefs, when I was running for Congress once again, and some of them have wrote, letters of opinion and letters to the editor. There's more to the fires than the underbush that's there. A lot of our equipment in our state is not up to code. And, we need to support our fire men and fire women a little bit more than we have been, and provide for the new equipment that has never, ever been provided to them. There's a bigger issue there. And, maybe one time you should have some of the fire men and women on your station so they can talk about what the issues
Hey,
really
Rhonda,
are. Yeah.
if you get us names, we will reach out to them because I would love to have them on to talk about the issues with the fire and the preservations and whatnot, because we're not being told the truth. So if you know someone that you can get the names, absolutely, we would love to have them on because people need to know what exactly is happening, because right now they're being sold a bunch of lies, and we know that. Now, Rhonda, we are like 30 minutes into the show. Now, you can, I know that you're busy and you have a busy day ahead of you.
Yeah, I do.
You can stay on or you can, leave. But either way, we're glad that you came on to talk to us about your run. And we hope that, you're successful.
Yeah, I thank you. I probably should do your next guest, his time. So, I can always come on another time. But
okay.
like I said, I always have a lot to say and I can always add on, and I will definitely get you other people's names if you want to
Please.
talk
Absolutely.
to other people, regarding the state and some of our issues, because, as a governor, a future governor, hopefully, of the state, I'm not one that knows every answer to every area, but that is where you pull in the experts in the certain areas.
Bingo.
And you listen to them, and they come out and, and especially when they've been showing concern for years and years and years, and nobody's been listening to them. I was there listening to them. And so it's something that we need to do as a state.
Right. And I agree with you. Like you said, you might not have all the answers. You look at President Trump. He wasn't a politician. Okay, but he came in, you look at what he did within the first year of his presidency. We have too many politicians that enter office with no good intentions. They enter, they want the power, they want the money, and then they want to tell us what to do. But it has to be people like us. That's the way the Constitution was designed. The Constitution never said you have to be a politician. Now, the politicians have created that. The media has created that. They don't want anyone to come in because they know that when regular people come in, regular people are listening to other regular people, and they know how to affect changes. So, Rhonda, we're glad that you're throwing your hat into the ring, to make a difference. We need more Rhondas like you to do it. And like you said, you might not have all the answers, but you can always reach out to people with the answers to work with you. We have to start somewhere. So, Rhonda, we thank you for coming on. All the best. We've got to have you back. Definitely, as soon as they find out, if you guys have the numbers and when you're going to run. Now, if they have the numbers, how soon will the next election be?
It could be as early. He could be in and out in less than 60 days.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, I like that. I wish they could do that to Governor Cuomo.
Yes.
So look, if you Now she's going to tell us what she's going to do.
I can't. I didn't hear anything you just said. You just cut out.
you broke out a little bit on us,
Yeah.
Rob.
But I said that if you're successful in your bid for governor, you must come back on our show.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
Great.
And, you know, I'm like I said, we're not in this alone. We're in this all together, and it includes
Absolutely.
Yeah, it includes the other states too as well. You know.
Absolutely. Yes.
Excellent. And how can people reach out to you, Rhonda, if they'd like to help support you? Any California residents listening?
I have a website. It's Rhonda, www.Rhonda, RHONDA, Furin, FURIN.com. And that is my governor page that you have right there. And if you look in the upper right corner, there's little tabs and there's like contact me and donate, volunteer, and has all kinds of connections. And just follow me on all social media fronts because I am on just about every single one there is.
Okay,
Excellent.
So we have your website up there so that people can make contact with you. Definitely follow her. And I'm going to put the information up right now. Here it is again, but we have the website. So definitely feel free to contact with Rhonda. I left the N out of the name. I'll correct that, but definitely contact her. And we wish you all the best, Rhonda. Good luck.
And I will get you the links to the firemen that you would love to talk on your show.
Absolutely.
That would be fantastic. We appreciate it.
All right, I'll email that to you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on, Rhonda.
All right, thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too, bye.
Well, folks, that was Rhonda Furin. She is doing something that a lot of us need to start doing, and that is stepping up, being counted, and letting these people know who are in power that we're not going to take it anymore. We have had it with their BS. We've had it. Go ahead, Andrew.
I was just going to say that could end up being one of the biggest stories this year. You guys have been around a while. Have you ever heard of a governor being recalled? I mean, that would be
well. They recalled Gray Davis, right? They recalled Gray Davis in California. He was a Democrat also, and they recalled him. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, stepped up, and all the good he did. But
so there is a precedent for it happening in California.
Absolutely,
before, huh? There is
a precedent. Yes, I think it happened in 2005 and 2006 when they recalled the governor at the time, Gray Davis.
We'll have to get Manny back on. I think he told us other states like New York, it's actually impossible to start a petition to recall the governor.
He has to be impeached. It's not in our Constitution. I think California, without a doubt, there might be one other state, but California does act on it. If they think you're not doing a good job, they kick you out. And as she said, and as you mentioned in Sacramento, there was a push some time ago to get him out, but he's supported by these teacher unions, Hollywood. I mean, they like to keep people embedded in the swamp, people that would do their bidding. They could care less about anyone else. And that is the reason why I am shocked that so many people keep voting for the Democrats. You look at South Central. We had Joe Collins. Why the heck do they keep putting Maxine Waters in office? What the heck has she done? What is she going to do? Nothing besides change her wig up. I mean, it's like, come on, folks. It's time to make a difference. It's time for a change. You can't always have these do-nothings there. But, hey, such as it is. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens with her. Now, we were supposed to have another guest on, and I don't think he's going to show up. So we have the usual suspects, myself and Ray, our resident poet.
Luckily,
definitely want you to.
I was going to say, I think he's got a new poem actually, Rob.
Oh, yes.
To cut you off.
I don't know.
I definitely got a few.
Oh wow.
I just want to say that, I really appreciate Andrew and Rob, what you've done for me. You might not realize it. And maybe I've told you this already. But after the election, I was like deep in almost like a depression. I just didn't want to talk about anything. I couldn't write anything. And as I started to come out, so to say, on your show, it's helped me get the juices going again.
Great.
And independent of all of it, my brain starts to write, and It happens pretty quickly. I think I maybe sent a couple of things along just to Rob, just to, see that I'm still active. Like I wrote a poem about Cuomo. I mean, I'm a New York kid, and it really hurts to see, I feel like New York, especially with the riots in the summer, I mean, looking at Fifth Avenue and all the beauty and see it boarded up is like, is this really happening? Is it really happening, Rob, that that Fifth Avenue was like boarded up and,
yeah.
And then in the previous years, there was people were getting beat up on the street for wearing red hats. And, I wrote a poem called New York, New York. And, now you got Cuomo and, maybe they are starting to eat each other up.
I hope so. For the crimes that he has done, and considering that he was on, fake news CNN with his brother, bragging about, being single and ready to mingle, and now we're finding out that he was, allegedly, accosting young girls that were the age of his daughter. Here he is in a picture right here. I mean, I just can't get over this picture. I mean, this was a kid, and she's not his daughter. She's not his cousin. So there was no reason for him to put his hands on her.
Yeah.
And for no one to report it or to say, Mr. Governor, or maybe they did. But of course, he has a volatile temper. So they were probably afraid. But this shows you how these Democrats are able to get away with murder. Now, to be fair, there are some conservatives that are doing the same thing. And this is what I have to say to men that are out there right now that are doing this. Okay, wake the heck up. No one wants to see what you have in your pants. Okay, that's for you to look at by yourself. You don't go out there thinking that every woman wants you. Wake the heck up. And if you're doing it right now, you're gonna be caught. So why don't you stop? No, I just gave them a warning. And guarantee it, someone is doing it right now. Maybe Joe Biden. This has got to stop. Okay, just stop. Even if it's a woman who's doing it, stop it. Okay? Stop it. Put the snake back in his cage and keep it locked up. It's unbelievable how these guys get out there and they do this nonstop. Now, Ray, while I'm talking, I hope you've got one of your great poems that you sent me.
I'm going to read a poem. I'm going to read a poem that I wrote. What's today? The 2nd? I wrote it yesterday.
Okay.
So this is hot off the press.
Great.
And it's called New York's Golden Boy. We know who that is. One wonders if it will happen. Will he ever fall from grace? So many sordid questions may finally slap him in the face. Women have come forward. Those within the state's employ claim that they were made the objects of their governor's illicit joy. If you look at recent history, some people never pay the price. They skip and skate, escape their fate, have support that they were right. They parade him as a hero, uphold his family name, bestow him with an Emmy. On grandma and grandpa did they blame. But truth will show its colors. It will force him to admit that it wasn't just flirtation. He used a deep coercive script. So the moral of the story is that power has its flaws. It can infect just like corona, seep inside the body's pores. When speaking truth to power, be sure to keep your story straight. There will be political foes who won't oppose that the Me Too movement works both ways.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
So there you have it. Governor Cuomo, his family has the name. People keep voting him. Rob, it's like California. Why do people keep voting for these people?
Yeah.
That is the question. And maybe they'll take him out. I don't know. I'm always skeptical. What we have seen in the last, 5 years?
Right.
We saw it with, Russiagate. We saw it with the hoax. We saw it with Hillary. We saw it, in Kleinsmith, and now Ray. I hate that he has my name, actually.
I'm glad
Ray, the FBI director.
Right. I'm glad you pivoted to him, because I just got a lot to say. I mean, this knucklehead comes out. He comes out and he says, from what he's been looking at, that Antifa was not involved in the riots, these insurrection of January 6th. But he says that they're still looking. Now, this guy is horrible. He is horrible. And I picked up on that the first time he went before the House to testify. And he didn't know anything. He stumbled, he mumbled. And I thought, this isn't good. And then I looked a little deeper, only to find out that he was referred to the president by none other than the former governor of New York, Chris Christie. Then I'm like, okay, there you have it. Christopher Wray is an empty suit. For him to go before Congress and say, oh, well, there's no evidence that Antifa was involved, but it seems like there were white supremacists. It seems like this. And I'm thinking, dude, okay, if you look at the FBI report that Tucker Carlson was able to pull, was able to look at, go to their website, and you will find out that there was a gentleman who was there, who was also in different Antifa riots, also known as the protests of the Democrats, who was instigating the so-called insurrection at the White House, the People's House. And then you want to come out and say, oh, no, there's nothing that can prove this. But you can prove that there were Proud Boys. I don't understand these people. And not only that, he wants to say that there was domestic terrorism. And when you ask them about terrorists coming from other countries, they're in complete denial. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to go near it. They don't want to touch it. And when you're looking at the person and you see that the person is from an Arabic descent, the first thing they'll say is, oh, but we have more white men that are domestic terrorists, as if though they made some proud pronunciation. Oh, but they're a white man. Like, are you serious? The truth hurts. Call an ace and a spade a spade. We have international terrorists that come here and want to do us harm. The domestic terrorists, a majority of the time, are from Arabic descent. Let's just be honest, okay? Yes, we have some that are white that try to do things. But let's just be honest and tell the truth. And what happened on January 6th, as much as they want to pretend and to say that, oh, it was local, and it was white man, and it was this, and oh my God. If you look at the picture, you will see that there were also some black men. There were also Hispanic men. And there was also a woman, unarmed, shot dead by an unnamed, undercover, so it seems, police officer. She was shot dead. And I don't care how many times you want to say that, well, she shouldn't have been there. She was unarmed and she was shot dead. And to this day, no one has said anything about it. And as for the officer who was killed on that day, we still don't know the cause of death, although the media wants to say that he was hit in the head by a fire extinguisher. But today, the only good thing that Ray admitted, Christopher Wray, was that they still don't know and is still under investigation. So I present these facts to you guys so that you will see that the media has been lying to you. A white woman was dead. She was armed. that resonate, let that sink in your head. So come out and they want to say that, oh my God, had it been a black person, and had it been a black person, this would have never happened. And, because they're always after black people. No, she was a white woman, shot dead. She had also served in the military. And no one has said anything about it, quiet as it's kept. And what was her name? Do any of you know her name? No, it wasn't Freddie Gray. It wasn't Breonna Taylor. What was her name? Why won't the media talk about her? Shame, shame, shame.
Absolutely right, Rob. We were talking about a long time ago, Christopher Wray, who was James Comey's replacement, doesn't seem to be much better than Cuomo was.
He's a disaster.
Yeah, complete disaster. Another person that I wish President Trump would have taken care of before his time was up in office, when he came out and said that Antifa was an idea and not a domestic terrorism group, that just told us everything we needed to know about Ray. And why is it the FBI can investigate a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage, but we can't get an investigation on election fraud? It's just
Thank you.
Priorities are just so screwed up.
A noose, they're going to send out all these agents to look at a noose that had always been there. It wasn't even a noose. They're going to send out a bazillion agents. Okay. It doesn't make, like you said, when he said that Antifa was an idea, it's like, what is BLM?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys are, it's sad as to what our country has come to. It's really sad that these people are so afraid to call out wrong. They're so, and why? Why are they so afraid? This whole racism thing, it has been diluted. It does not exist. When someone says racism, just say it doesn't exist. It's fake. That is fake news. And by the way, her name is Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that no one has said anything about her. Unfortunate. But we can talk about the Proud Boys, and we can talk about, Donald Trump, and we can talk about Roger Stone, and the media can talk about it all day long.
Yeah. It's just a deflection.
Absolutely.
It's just a deflection. It's like, don't look at this, look at this. We're so brainwashed. And I really feel for, like this thing with, if you don't mind me talking about Dr. Seuss.
Oh, please.
Absolutely.
Come on. Dr. Seuss was like my poetic idol. Really. And any kid in this country has grown up with Dr. Seuss. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever thought for a second it was off color or racist. He had the greatest little, creatures that would, your imagination would run wild, and the colors and the rhymes were phenomenal. It wasn't just today. I looked at, some history. He started writing in the 30s, like 1939. Wow. He wrote for till 1990. It's like 60 years. He wrote 60 books in 60 years. And now his, quote, foundation has caved in. His foundation.
They probably have a liberal on the board who's probably saying, "Oh, we better jump out there so we can make ourselves look like heroes."
More money.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. No, I saw the books that they're referencing. I saw the books when I was a kid. I looked at it and I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, oh, okay. But I knew that wasn't me. That didn't look like me. So of course I moved on. But okay, you want to discontinue those 6 books. But what else are you going to discontinue? Why don't we just discontinue? Because I'm thoroughly offended by rap music and the misogynistic, racist overtones.
I can get behind that.
I'm like, are you serious? Yes. I cannot believe it, but quiet as it's about it. It's just like, okay, well, not now. They're not. Not now. They're quiet. I'm sure someone's thinking about it. But all the vulgar, the things they say about women, about black women, you would think that, what's her name? Maxine Waters would be on top of it, but she's having an interview with Megan Thee Stallion saying, oh, I know what you're singing about. You're talking about WAP. And I got to say, I know. And I'm just glad that you're taking control of it. Taking control of what? I mean, not too long ago, you were saying that, women dancing in strip clubs was horrible and that men are sexualizing women. And now you're saying that, oh, it's okay because you're claiming it. You're taking it back. So I know. Please give me a break. These people are insane. So I'm waiting for rap music. I'm waiting for Dr. King because Dr. King was a womanizer. And, we can't have womanizers. Although he's dead and gone, the social justice police means that he has to pay. We have to make him pay. So we have to take down all these people who were bad. Now, Bill Clinton in Arkansas, they have the Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport. Are we going to rename it? Because Bill Clinton has a reputation of, just using the women and losing them. When is it going to stop? This is insanity. This is America. And when you have people like Ray coming out saying, not you, Ray, not Ray the Poet, because Ray the Poet is on target. He knows where he stands. But Ray, the FBI director, no wonder Biden tried to keep him on because he's going to do his bidding. I mean, the guy is an empty suit. You can look at his face. He's not serious about anything. What is it? What Antifa is just an idea. Oh, and you're just an idea also. Who should just move off, move stage left. It's insane, guys. It's really insane.
It really isn't. Over the last couple of years, I was under, I guess I was very naive. I thought, gee, I'm a poet. They'll leave poets alone. We're just, writing some words. We're not responding to comments and abusing anybody. And I thought that I would be protected as a poet. But that's not how it is. Okay? It's no longer how it is. They're banning books. Amazon is banning books. This is an all-out assault on freedom to express ourselves. And thank God I was able to get some books published, and I have others in the works. I have 2 more books on the burner.
Right.
Well, see, the thing, but it's just, I just never thought, Rob, that I would get suspended, and I was naive.
Right. Well, the thing is like you said, you're a poet, you're doing your thing, but they don't like it. Now, if we were to come here and we were to go off on the deep end and talk about racism and oh my God, and how we were wronged, I thought about that so many times. If I were to go right now and send Twitter a letter and say, oh, I was wrong, I was brainwashed, I had to be deprogrammed, I was lost. Please take me back. I see the error of my ways. Donald Trump is a mean orange man, and all the people on the right, they're evil, and they have brainwashed me. They would probably welcome me back into the fold. I would get all types of interviews because they love it when you come out there and you're just like, oh no, I was wrong. Look at Brennan, that knucklehead, saying that he was embarrassed of being a white man. Can you imagine? And think of the young white boys that are hearing this. I'm like, and say, he's embarrassed of being who he is. How did we get here? And I keep saying that. How did this happen so quickly overnight that these people took charge? And they're now changing. They're tearing down the fabric of society. They're telling men, we don't like that word. We don't say it because it's offensive. Men can have babies. Boys can have cycles. They can menstruate. It's like, are you serious? How did we get here? This is so unreal. attacking men. I was watching a report the other day. They said that the birth rate is like going down. I don't think I would want to have a kid in this evil, backward society. But yet, here we are, and we go forth for a better day. But these guys, they're not playing the game fair. How did we get here? They lied and they cheated. Ray, do you have another poem for us?
Let's take a look. Well, I might as well stick with a couple that I wrote in the last couple of days because it's new.
Excellent.
Oops. Hold on. I mean, this is a little, every so often I write a one that's a little morbid, but I try to call it like it is.
Hey.
This is called Awake to a Socialist Regime, because that certainly is what is going on. Mm-hmm. What do you say when they stifle your voice so you're no longer heard? They took your freedom of choice. What do you do when their hands on your throat? They'll watch you gasping for air. They don't care if you choke. What do you think when they cancel your thought? Those values you held are amounting to naught. What do you feel when your dreams start to fade? Or the paths that you planned can no longer be paved? What do you fear when they undid the law, made you give up your rights, which no judge would restore? What did you expect when they boarded up your door? Everything that you owned is no longer yours. What can be done? That's the question at hand. There's no time left for slumber. Millions must take a stand, turn hope into action, emerge from under their thumb. Time waits for no one when a revolution's begun.
Powerful. I like that. You're right. Time waits for no one, and we're definitely in the throes of a revolution, because if we don't watch out, the folks on the left will take over, and then we will be left wondering what the heck happened. Brilliant poem. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Now, pivoting just a little bit into the entertainment arena. Prince Harry and Meghan. I don't get this couple. He's complaining and he's saying that he had to leave England because of his family and, the press and all these bad things. But you run over here and you start jumping in front of the press, wanting press, speaking to Oprah, speaking to everyone else. But I thought you didn't want that. And then Meghan, I knew that girl was trouble when I saw her, as my mom would say. I knew she was trouble when I saw her. It's like, who does she think she was marrying? You're going over there. They weren't there, I think, a year. And then we've got to come to the United States because we're under all this pressure. And these people don't like us. And they're doing this. Okay, you have all this money. All you have to do is stay inside of your castle and keep to yourself. But no, I think Meghan wants it all. She wants all of the attention. And she knew that being there, she would always be second fiddle to Kate. So if I move the family here and convince Harry to come here, we can get all these lucrative deals. We'll be the stars, and we'll do this and we'll do that. And now they want to sit down with Oprah, although they want their privacy, and just let it all hang out. These are a bunch of spoiled brats, if I ever saw it. Okay. Spoiled brats. What do you guys say?
Absolutely.
Well, of course, I have a poem somewhere about Harry and Meghan.
We'll get that poem.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig it up. But
okay.
There's nothing I don't watch. Okay. Now understand, my mother is English, and she knows about the royals. Uh-huh. She's been following the scandals for 50, 60, 70 years. She's actually born the same year as Queen Elizabeth.
Really? So what does she think about all this? What does she think about all this craziness?
you know, she just look. Harry was the guy that dressed up in a Nazi uniform. He's the renegade of the family. He'll never be king. His their children are like 7th and 8th in line. So he's an outcast. He's been an outcast.
Yep.
Meghan, I don't know much about. You know, she's trouble for the family, and so it's a soap opera. That's all it is. I mean, these people never worked a day in their lives. The monarchy owns half of London, the biggest streets. They get millions. If you've ever been to London, you got to go see the crown jewels. You know, there's just wealth beyond wealth, and they are German stock. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot of history, you know, with the Germans. You know, again, if you've ever seen the movie, it's really a good one, is The Darkest Hour. Yes. It wasn't that popular, but if you catch it, it was really great about Winston Churchill. And basically, the monarchy wanted to make a deal with Hitler, and he didn't want it. You know, because they probably promised the royal family, if you just let us take over, we'll let you pretend you're queen and king still.
I like that.
And you know that you could not negotiate with Hitler. You see the results. I mean, had it not been for the Russians, we'd probably all be speaking German.
Right.
You know, and this is why I always was skeptical about, you know, how we treated Russia. Mm-hmm. Russia bailed the United States out. Mm-hmm. Had it not been for the Russians, we would have lost World War II.
Mm-hmm. Over 28 million Russian casualties.
You know, look, I just don't know what to tell you. It's all just one big soap opera.
Yeah, it is, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
He's running. I'm running away. I had to protect my family. I mean, I'm not going to watch the Oprah special because I don't think I have the patience to sit there and watch these two pampered adults complain about the media. And it's like, but you're running to the media. Why don't you keep it to yourself? Look at Wallace Simpson, who all those years when she married the love of her life, she was quiet the entire time. But you got this girl running around, and she's trying to make movie deals. She's out there trying to be the social justice police. She's attacking President Trump. I'm like, please. But yet and still the media is after them. So he has to move his family because he's afraid that what happened to his mom might happen to his new family. Dude, she has you wrapped around her fingers. I don't know what she put on you, but she put it on you really good. And he is so confused. I mean, some of the things that he's saying, I mean, maybe the royal family, they weren't, you know, receptive of her. I don't know. But it just seems to me that there's a lot more than what they're saying is happening. What do you say, Andrew, about the soap opera?
Yes. Yeah, they're ingrates. I always thought from day one it looked like she was marrying her way into the royal family so she can achieve further fame and stardom in her Hollywood career. Yep. And we've seen that when they turned their back on the Queen and moved out of Britain and tried moving to Canada for a while because President Trump wouldn't fund their security for them. In California, if you remember that, they actually
I do. I remember
Trump
that.
to pay for security to have them live here, and he wouldn't do it. Now that Joe Biden's in office, I think that they're back in LA. He's probably footing the bill for that security.
Wait. They actually wanted Trump to fund their security?
Yes.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Who are they? Oh, they want to become the United States royal family? Oh my God. I'm telling you, Meghan, this. She is behind.
She's pregnant. I think they're having another baby, aren't they?
They're having another baby, you know. And the sad thing about it, like you said, he'll never be king. The only way they would get close, they would have to wipe out the entire Williams family for them to be king. She knew it, and she probably told them, hey, you'll never be king, so why stay here?
There is a funny movie, by the way, called King Ralph.
Uh-huh.
And the whole thing about the movie is everybody dies. And then King Ralph, he was like 30th in line, he becomes the king. So it's a comedy. But yeah, he'll never be king.
He'll never be king. So she probably convinced him to leave.
I think it's safe to say he would have moved a spot ahead of Andrew.
Oh, that's right.
If he would have stuck around her.
Oh my gosh. Now, one other, speaking of the entertainment, LeBron James. I don't like LeBron James. Not that he's ever done anything to me per se. I'm just not into him, but to each his own. But what I do find interesting is that he wants to come out and be all political. They said that he's not going to shut up because, when he sees injustice, he's going to speak up. Dude, what about China? What about Hong Kong? When the folks were protesting and you turn your backs on them. And when the coaches were trying to support them, you came out and spoke against the coach. And now you're here, and you want to attack President Trump, you wanted to attack his supporters. If it wasn't for these people, you wouldn't be where you are right now. So why don't you just shut up and dribble the freaking ball? I'm black. You can't say that people are saying it because they're white. I'm telling you, shut up and dribble the freaking ball, okay? Just dribble the ball. Save your politics for someone who wants to hear it. I'm sure the left wants to hear it, but just shut up and dribble the ball. China is only allowing you to talk that way and say that because they know that it causes discourse in our community, in our society. That's the only reason why. But it's only a matter of time that they're going to tell you to shut up and dribble the ball, just like they told you to shut up and dribble the ball when you started talking about Hong Kong. Don't you get it? Come on. What do you guys say?
There's something about wealth that corrupts, and it corrupts the brain to think you're better than the rest. And this is the problem with arrogance.
Arrogance, yes.
There's this guy. He's from Sweden, but he's a great soccer player, football player. His name is Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yep, I heard about him. Yep.
And he's one of the greatest soccer players in the world right now. And he's very tall. He's Swedish, but he's like he's an animal. And he came out and said, dude, he's talking to LeBron. Basically, he said, dude, just kick the ball. Yeah. Just dribble the ball and stay out of politics. You've become famous. Just keep it that way. And sometimes it takes somebody of equal stature, but in a different sport, as Ibrahimovic, to put him in his place. When LeBron came to the Miami Heat from Cleveland, the first time he left and they had the big lottery. You guys remember all of that, right?
Right. Yep.
And he landed in Miami, and he was going to buy a big house on South Beach. We call it down here Sobe, S-O-B-E, Sobe. And I knew that he wouldn't last long because Miami is a fickle place, sports-wise. We already have our heroes. We didn't need LeBron. We already had Don Shula and we had Dan Marino. These were like the native sons of South Florida and the Robbie family. It used to be Joe Robbie Stadium. Now it's Hard Rock, and that's where I get my my vaccinations now. I go to Hard Rock. I'm getting my second one on Sunday.
Okay.
But we won a championship in this and that, but people were already tired of LeBron. And then what did he do? He went back to Cleveland. And then he went to Los Angeles. He's a moneymaker. There's no loyalty to anything. And people know it. I mean, I think the people in Cleveland are just like, they can't stand the guy because he put Cleveland on the map and then he betrayed them, abandoned them.
Right.
You know, I mean, Cleveland came pretty close this year to football, right? They had a shot, which was good for Cleveland.
Right.
But Cleveland, and now the Indians are going, right? The name. So the Indians are going.
It's crazy. Council culture again.
I have a new word. It's not culture. There's a root word in culture. It's cult. Think about it. It's a cancel cult.
I like
it's
that.
a cult. That's my new word for the day. I started writing a poem, but I couldn't put it together. But I will have a poem called The Cancel Cultists. That's what they are. It's a cult. It's like Jim Jones. They're all being fed poison. And I don't even know who they are. And my mother keeps saying to me, Ray, who is they you keep talking about? Who is they? I want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Cancel cult.
It's really sad what LeBron did to the city of Cleveland and Ohio after all they had done for him growing up in Akron, Ohio. I did an article a couple of years ago about LeBron James's I Promise School, which sounds great that he's sending something like 2,000 kids to his special school, and they all get free college and all these amazing perks to go to his college. And it sounds great, but it turns out that actually a lot of the high-end white taxpayers in Akron are the ones who are funding this, paying almost like $28,000 a year on property taxes or something crazy like that. Have to look up the numbers on it. But yeah, LeBron's the type of guy, he likes to brag about any charity he does. I don't think he has a sincere bone in his body. Obviously, he has no loyalty. Just another overpaid, whiny athlete
who's been given a platform. You're right about the schools. I mean, not only that, the city is having to do it also, but he has people thinking that, oh, yeah, he created it, he set it up, that there were all these things that the city had to do to keep it going, you know, because they want these kids to get out of the ghetto. It's like, well, you have enough money, you can do it yourself. Why don't you? But he wants to brag about what he's doing. And it's like, okay, dude, you've been given a platform. People listen to you. LeBron poops. Oh, look at what happened. You know, but these guys are just overpaid. And I mean, I think back at the days of the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans, who were always quiet. They did their game, and that was it. Yeah, they might have gotten into trouble, Kobe Bryant. Okay, but being the political police that a lot of these people think that they are, no, not at all. And sometimes I wish they would just shut up, dribble the ball, hit the ball, carry the ball, do whatever you do with the ball. Yes, you can give your political views and whatnot, but to make it seem as if there was gospel. At one point, remember, Barbara Streisand, she was always out there, the political queen. And now it's Cher, and now it's Alyssa Milano. I mean, these people are so fake. They are so fake. They think they know what's best for us, and they have all this money that they pipe into all these elections. You look at California. I got to ask Rhonda about the attorney general there in California, the district attorney, whomever he is, who's letting all these people out of jail because of George Soros pumped in all this money to get him elected. And when you look at this and you just step back and say, is this actually happening? We had crime down and now crime is on the rampant. Why would you want these people out of jail? Who's going to benefit from it? These are bad people, as Trump would say, the bad hombre. They're bad people. Why would we want them out on the streets? I mean, I just don't get it. But yet, this is where we are. This is where we are in 2021. We have a president who's probably senile, doesn't know which end is up. They roll him out, give him his lines, and he says whatever he has to say. We have Hollywood and athletes that are telling us the way it should be and how we should live our lives, where us as regular people, we're having to suffer. We're having to put up with all this crime and all this other craziness that's taking place. It has to stop. We have to get involved because what's happening now is really sad. It's really sad. All the good that we had done, I look at New York City, all the gains that Mayor Giuliani had put on the map for New York City, only for de Blasio to come in and just to wreak havoc. And now he's trying to fight each other. I mean, when he had the opportunity, but, you know, missed opportunity, I guess. So now they're going to try to get rid of him. And Ray, you were questioning, you said you don't know if it would happen. Well, that's fair, because we don't know, because we know how these people will protect their own. But I think it's gotten to the point, if you recall some time ago, Eliot Spitzer was the governor of New York City, and then he had a scandal for having this, these little relationships with prostitutes, and he stepped down. Cuomo is a different breed. He's a mean man, so I hear. So he's going to fight like hell to hold on to the reins, because he's from the prominent political Cuomo family.
Yes.
So he's going to try to hold on, but I hope they drag him out in a disgraceful way. Now, I don't know who would take his place, but I want him to go, because he is a mean man. He is very nasty, and what he has done to the city is an abomination. And for what? His hate for Donald Trump? I hope they drag him out. And when he's out, when we have the show, yes, I'm going to gloat and I am going to laugh, because he and his brother had a comedy hour on CNN when people were dying. Cuomo was going around, throwing his weight, on young girls. We just went through Harvey Weinstein. I mean, didn't this guy get the memo? Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it, right? We're talking about this now, and I'm telling men, put the snake in his cage and lock it up. And there's probably someone out there right now laughing about it and about to do the exact same thing. So I want them to make an example out of Cuomo. I want him to leave the office in disgrace.
It would be nice.
The same thing should happen to Don Lemon. He's kind of loose also. You have all these men, again, there are some on the right, but we're talking about the Democrats right now, who are mean and nasty, and they should be made an example. That's all I have.
Yeah, I think we were all disappointed about the results of the presidential election, but people in California and New York could have some good news this year if we were able to get rid of Gavin Newsom, and then Cuomo has to resign or gets impeached because of all these allegations. I've seen another woman just came out today. They are starting to add up fast on the New York governor.
There'll be more. There'll be more. I noticed, I'm just thinking, the two places that basically are open for business, Florida and now soon to be Texas, are both states without state income taxes. So they're able to function without a state income tax. Look at California. And I listened to Dan Bongino, like last year with everything, and he's a pretty good economist. He says raising taxes never balances the budget. And I don't quite understand it, because I'm not an economist. I just write poems. But there has to be a reason, and government is not the answer. I mean, we have come, right? We are stuck into, the government has convinced a lot of people that it should all be theirs and they'll figure it out what's best for us. And I said to Mother today, I said, you have to realize that government doesn't do anything but spend our money. They don't make money. They don't create money, except they print money. That's a problem. But
you're right. You're right.
But taxes are not the answer. If it was, we'd have, everything would be balanced, but it's not. It's the economy that drives income and budget. And when you shut down an economy of a country, what do you expect is going to happen? I'm surprised more people haven't jumped off buildings.
Yeah, and that's really sad. But just going back to, I'm looking at one of the comments in the chat room, which is definitely true, from Mega Madrid. She says that the people from California moved to Texas, and the people from Florida moved to New York, and they moved there taking their crazy ideas. They destroy. But that is a huge problem. They destroy the economies where they are, and then it's like, well, I can't live here, and this is not fair. So then they pack, and then stay there for a while, and then restless, They don't see any of their weird ways or weird ideas that are around them. And then they start inviting their friends to come. And then once their friends come, then you've got problems, because then they start trying to change the culture and the statute that the state has with their crazy ideas. And you see it happening all over. Look at Georgia. These people and they're trying to turn the states from red to purple, and it has to stop. I've never experienced this before in my life. This is crazy. You're destroying the economies of these big states, and then you're going to the other states to wreak havoc there. It's like a hurricane or a snowstorm, whereby they come in and they just come up with start pontificating. It's like, folks, please stay where you are. Okay, if you want things to change, get rid of all those crazy ideas, because it's not working. And if you take them to where you're going to destroy the economies there as well. I mean, it's insane. Guys, that's all I've got for the night. Unless you have something else, feel free.
No, I was just going to remind our listeners to make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night. We've got Pastor Greg Locke on the show. A special Wednesday edition will be on at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 in the West. And then Thursday, we will be back with Michael Johns to break down President Trump's CPAC speech and a rundown of CPAC. So a big week ahead. And of course, we'll be back Sunday night with Barbara from Harlem joining us once again, Heather, BB, and hopefully the rest of the crew as well.
Right. And Heather's mom is going to be joining us on Sunday also. So that should be a blast with Heather and Barbara from Harlem. And I don't know if you're going to be joining us on Thursday or not, Ray, with your new poems, but definitely let us know, because we know that you are a resident poet and we enjoy hearing from you.
Thank you so much. And I just want to mention I was on a show prior to tonight's show with Patriots in Tune, and which was fun. They got a nice platform, and I plugged your platform.
Thank you,
Andrew and Rob, to let them know, because we really, we're not competitors. We're all trying to make a voice
absolutely
heard. So it's very important that we all share the wealth, which is our voice, and
support
thank
each other.
you for
yes.
So tonight I did double duty and I read some poems, and so it's been a fun night. I really appreciate it.
Great.
Excellent.
And if you guys would like to support us, you can always go to PayPal. You can support us there. You can support us on Cash App, so that we can continue on this platform and other platforms, because as you know, the left is definitely trying to shut us out. So there are other platforms that are out there, but we have to pay to be on some of the platforms. So if you'd like to support us, please feel free to drop us a couple of, greenbacks. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, absolutely. Great. And a special thanks to Rhonda Furin for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Best
Rhonda
of luck
Furin,
to her and the Gavin Newsom recall. That would be fantastic news if California could get rid of that guy.
Absolutely. So that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for being with us. God bless. And we will see you again tomorrow night, when our guest will be Pastor Greg Locke. God bless. Be safe. Thank you.
Good night.